So I'd love to share with you something I've just shared with a recent student of mine, Mark, struggling with his driver, big slice with driver, and really inconsistent with his ball striking with his irons. Now, if every single golfer did what I'm about to share with you in this video, I guarantee they would improve immensely. Most of the time what we're doing is we're putting sticking plasters on our golf swing. We don't get to the core problem. And what I did with Mark is I really got to the core of what is a golf swing. How you move the engine, which is the body, on the way back, on the way through, is absolutely key in helping you hit both your driver and your irons consistently well. What was super funny with Mark is he came with major problems with his driver. Once we'd fixed his irons, he stepped up to driver and in one ball, nailed it straight down the middle. So exactly what we worked with his irons worked immediately for his driver. I can't wait to share it with you. So before I get into the lesson, look, if you're new to the channel, one of your first videos of mine, please consider subscribing, or at least videos just like this one every single week to try and help you improve your game. But you never have to remember a thing. Everything we do here, I'll put into a free downloadable practice guide in the description box below. So this is one of those videos that I'm really excited to share with you because, as I said at the start of the video, I think if you do this, you will see massive improvements to your ball striking and your accuracy. Now, great players, what helps them get that consistency is they're able to move the club and their hands on a very consistent arc around their body on the way back and on the way down. Now, they're able to do that because they move their bodies in such a way that supports their hands, arms, and the club. Now that support looks something like this. If I stood up here, you'll notice, if I move my body correctly, my hands, arms, and club work on a beautiful arc around their body, right? They don't move up and around and all over the place. But when people start to angle their body towards the ground, what we should start to see, look, is the same thing. We should see the body supporting the arms, hands, and club on an arc around the body. So you'll notice here, my lead shoulder goes down, my trail shoulder's high, and everything's supporting it all the way on the way back and on the way through. You'll notice here, look, my trail shoulder's down, my lead shoulder's up, and I'm supporting that club swinging on this arc. Now it sounds simple, doesn't it? And it should be, but it isn't, because without knowing, you've likely got a blockage in your golf swing that's stopping your body working and supporting those arms, hands, and club. And this is exactly what Mark had. Now, Mark, because of a blockage, would get his club working in the wrong direction here, then it would lift up here, and then you can imagine it's going to be really, really inconsistent. So where was the blockage? And these are things that I want you to look out for. Let's start with simply setup. When you're setting up, remember, we want to create an arc on this side of the golf ball. So the first thing I look at here is this. Is my trail side unblocked in such a way that's going to allow it to naturally turn? With Mark, it wasn't. Two things. His trail arm was like this. With like this, I'm just going to swing the club out here, or what he did, pull it like this, right? So the right arm needs to be soft. Soft, look, I'm moving it inwards, now I can turn it around the corner. The second thing was his trail foot. Again, simple things. Move that trail foot outwards a little bit, just flare it a little bit. What does this help you do? It helps to unblock the pelvis. Mark's pelvis, this is huge, and I see this all the time, by the way, with golfers, okay? I'm gonna show you my backside in a second. This pelvis did not move. So what happens is this blockage here happens, it stays blocked. Now the problem is we've got to get the hands and the club working on an arc. Well, they can't, right? So what we do is we'll start to make compensations. The arms will pull the club around. Now we've got a really kind of awkward looking swing. The arms move offline and we've gone, right? So the blockage was there. By unblocking this, all I did with Mark was this. I said, look, we're gonna do two things with you, Mark. We're gonna unblock that, and then all I want to do is get your belt buckle here pointing towards your trail foot. You could also, which is sometimes even better, get your right pocket here, my trail pocket, moving towards, look, the target. So many people are simply keeping it here in the same place. That is a blockage. That's going to stop your hands, arms, and club working, look, on a beautiful arc around that body. Super, super important. So once we've unblocked this here, you've now got the ability, look, for the hands to work on an arc inwards, the club to work on an arc inwards. Now we're getting somewhere, right? 2 more pieces, really, really important. So it's simple, right? Mark needs to make sure that, yes, we're working on an arc, but we're not working on an arc around our body, we're working around and upwards. So the lead shoulder needs to work down as you're doing it, okay? So when I'm moving this here, look, my lead shoulder's working downwards. Lead shoulder's low, trail shoulder's high, I'm working on an arc. So we're unblocking now this motion. This is all we did to start with. There's one more major piece in a second, but this is the first exercise. So I got him to set up to the golf ball, flare his trail foot out, and rehearse a couple of times this motion. Lead shoulder down, hands in, pocket to target. Lead shoulder down, hands in, pocket to target. Those 3 things. Unlocking, so that club now, look, is tracking beautifully around my body. From here, the club can work back beautifully on the arc, strike the golf ball, and we can create this beautiful flight straight down the fairway. So we started with a half swing to start with, then we gradually build it up. So let's have a look at this in action first, and then we'll show you how we build it up and then transferred it to the driver. So, set myself up, unlock that body here. No, there we go, now I've unlocked. Flare that trail foot out a little bit here. Feel that pocket working towards the target. Hands in, shoulder down. Right, let's have a look at this. Lovely sound, right? So once we've got him actually striking the ball and he's starting to hit that ball much, much straighter, what we then did, we said, look, we're going to start, you want to hit more distance, right? You want to hit it longer. That's when the next blockage comes in. And this is the one that, again, I see all the time with many of my students, so watch out for it. So he's done this kind of like half swing to here, right? But when he gets beyond this, he then starts to rise. He starts to go off position. Again, I see this a lot of the time. This is where the head tilt is super, super important. So when you're making this movement here and we're working this club around the body, your head and where it's tilted, I often imagine pouring water out my left ear. I got this from a coach, a friend of mine is a coach, Andreas Kelly. He said, imagine pouring water out your left ear, because what that does here is that head movement there, you try this, it allows you to continue working, look, the hands on the arc around. If my head's here, watch what happens to my arms. They can't go much further. So now the problem is I will cheat to complete my swing. As soon as you've gone offline, we're in real trouble. So find if you have any of these particular blockages in your swing that's stopping you working this club beautifully on an arc around that body, back and through. Now there's one more major piece I'm going to introduce in just a second, but let's just add that kind of length into the swing here. So again, same principle, unblock the swing. My trail pocket here is working towards the target. My hands are working in, my shoulders working down, and now I'm listening or I'm pouring water out my lead ear here. Just picture this motion in your mind. There we go, right? There we go. Look at that, all this space, look, to work back down into that golf ball with, okay? So get myself set here, look at the target. Beautiful sound, right? So, final piece, as we are coming through. So when Matt was doing this, things were already starting to improve, but the habit of this kind of slice that he had still exists a little bit. He still wants to return to the old pattern. And the old pattern was this, we're in a great position now, right? He's moving back, but how do we make sure that you don't jump out this way and you start back and you continue this beautiful arc back into the golf ball? You haven't got a lot of time to think in the downswing. So what I gave Mark was a really simple drill that helped Mark feel this naturally coming down. And ultimately, look, if you find yourself, in a sense, struggling to get the club working beautifully down this, then the chances are your pattern will look something like this. The club works out. Notice what's happening to my hip and my heel of my trail foot. It tends to want to naturally, the pattern is a spin this way, right? What we want to create, look, is a much more down the line pattern. Watch what happens to my heel compared to what we did before. It moves, it's always look ahead of my toes before it gradually moves up. Now, it's too much to think about, right? So all I wanted to do with Mark is give him a simple exercise, which is, we're at the driving range, I gave him a basket of golf balls. I got him to set up here, and I said, look, put that on your heel, and just say, look, if you do this, the chances are your heel's gonna smash that basket of balls. Just simply make a swing, trying to avoid that heel. So suddenly now you're working more this way, avoid the basket, and you'll naturally start to take the club much more down the line and through that impact area. Simple as that. He loved it, again, because it didn't require much to think about. So let's have a look at this in action. Get myself set, and all I'm going to do here is, again, hands, arms, the club are working in, so shoulder down, hands in. Create that motion. Make sure I'm tilting my head enough so I can continue working around. Got that feeling? Then don't overthink it. Let's have a go. Simple as that. So make sure, double check you haven't got any blockages in your swing that is stopping your body supporting the hands, arms and club as you move back. One final piece actually before we finish. With Mark, I always made sure that he was picturing a beautiful little draw from right to left. It's really, really important. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a video just here, which is what I want you to watch next, because it kind of works beautifully with this one. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, maybe share it with one of your friends, and of course, look, if you're new to the channel, press that subscribe button right down here. But until next week, have a wonderful golfing week.